What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the GoodeBaker podcast. I'm Nick Baker, and across from me, Shane Good. And we are here to talk to you about some video games. And of course, first things first, we got to talk about what we've been playing this week. So, what's up, man?
So they released possibly one of my favorite game modes ever. You ready for this?
Oh, I think that was a hell of a headline right there.
Yeah, I mean this is the suspense part.
All right.
Once I tell you, you're gonna be like, "Well, that's fucking dumb."
Yeah.
So I gotta
got to keep you there as long as possible.
Yeah. So it's called One for All.
Why?
Okay, so it's League of Legends. It's the normal 5v5 Summoner's Rift map, and your entire team is one champion. So 5 people, 1 champion. The enemy team is 1 champion. And you can get, both teams can totally be 1 champion. So you can have 10 of the same champion. It leads to some really, really just interesting mechanics. And just, some real, douchebaggery, super fucky, games.
It's the super overpowered characters are just, on one side and just waving people, and I imagine it's pretty hectic.
It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of characters that don't have a place in the meta per se are super good in this particular mode. So a lot of champions that you just don't usually get to play a lot because they're not super in meta are super in meta for this, and it's just super fun to actually get to play a character that's never in meta and not lose immediately just because you picked them.
Yeah, that's great. I always like when they shift things up, especially in battle royale games. We'll talk about Warzone in a second. How they updated some stuff and threw some new guns down for the meta. The whole meta of the beginning of that game has changed. So
yeah, I did notice that there was a 14 gigabyte update.
Oh yeah, and it's no wonder that Ben wasn't able to play on one of the days because the PS4 still has that problem where you have to download the whole file for the game again when you update the file. So it's bonkers, dude. It's called the copying process, and they're eradicating it for the PS5, thankfully. But every time you update a file, I think it might be of a certain size or more, but it could just be any update. If you don't have your PS4 in auto update or sleep mode, so that it'll automatically update, it'll take a fucking hour or so to copy the entire file and pop it back onto your PlayStation, depending on file size, of course. So if it's I don't know, just one of those indie titles that you'll find that's 5 gigs, if there's an update for that, it'll be a couple minutes, but it's still,
damn, dude,
it's a big problem.
2021 is going to be a big year for you console boys.
Yeah, man. I'm actually going to be able to, play games when I want to play. And that's really not been a problem for me as of late because I've had the external, and the externals really helped me out. But before that, I just had to wait and wait and wait. Whenever I got a new game, it's just wait. It sucks. But
I mean, they do a pretty decent job at game releases nowadays where they let you download the game 3 days beforehand and just don't let you they basically just lock you out of the files, which makes perfect sense. There's always people that figure out different ways to get more information out of the files, but I don't know.
Anyway,
what have you been playing?
I've been playing Animal Crossing. Getting into that, it's a lot of fun.
Crossing the old animals?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of animals. Getting more animals every day. Just got the turnip lady to come to my village.
The turnip lady?
Yeah, she sells you. It's what they call the stock market. It's a play on words, so it's the stock of the turnip. Oh yeah, it's great.
Nice.
So
nice.
What you have to do here is you have to buy turnips at a certain price, and at some point during the week, whether it be in the morning or afternoon of a certain day, they'll be worth more or less. So it's in that way, it's sort of like the stock market. So you buy turnips to sell them for more later on at your own shop.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's interesting, and I've got my whole village kind of coming together where I'm getting some fruit trees built and getting that lucrative asset grove in front of my house.
Nice.
But yeah, not too exciting. Nothing too exciting to talk about there. But as far as other games, I've still been cracking away at Warzone. And me and you have obviously played a few nights, but I played last night and had a really, really good night. We didn't win any, but we came in second once and top 10 pretty much every time.
Nice.
So I feel like I'm getting the grip of that game, and even with the shift, like I said, of the meta, that they added a few different guns to the initial drop. So you have some semi-automatic rifles that you can pick up that use the sniper rounds, so you're not just picking up sniper rounds for no fucking reason in the beginning of the game.
That's cool. That's a nice balance.
They reduced the drop rate, it seems like, of SCARs and M13s, like those assault rifles.
Oh man, the SCARs were fucking everywhere.
Yeah, and they were. And they drop gray and green deagles now, which is so cool. Because that was one of the guns that I really wanted to level up, because I feel like it's a really good option at distance.
Yeah.
In the actual game, when you get it in the gulag, it's really a really shitty gun to have to.
It's
work
rough.
with in there. But
yeah,
I really enjoy that.
A nice deagle with an 8x scope is pretty good at range, though.
Yeah, man. I had a few really, really good kills with that gun. I actually have it on one of my loadouts now, and man, it drains people. At distance. And if you have like an SMG and you pair it with that, your movement speed is really, really fast with the deagle, so you can kind of get around and kind of pop cover and really get guys from distance. So
nice.
That's a lot of fun. What is your experience with it? The few times you played
the deagle?
Well, not specifically the deagle, just the game in general. Like,
I mean, definitely the game's a lot of fun. I've said that it's a lot of fun many times, but it's I wouldn't say it's my favorite battle royale, because I think that like season 3 Fortnite to like season 6 was probably like pretty unbeatable in my opinion, just because of like the skill gap that you can have in Fortnite. It just adds a different level of like detail, where like, you know, I was very good at building versus my shots are like, I don't play, you know, aim trainer games like a lot of people do. I find it more fun to go out and actually just play the game.
Right, have a strategy in mind for like not necessarily sniping guys at distance, but like getting guys to come to you. And
exactly.
That's kind of how I always played Fortnite too, because I was always playing console too. So getting those distance shots wasn't as easy. So anything that I could get up close was always beneficial for me.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are saying that Call of Duty is too easy, and I can kind of see that. The skill gap is, like you said, it's not as deep. Like, you can get pretty good at that game in just the few weeks that we've been playing it. I feel like I'm pretty comparable, where we are getting to the end a decent amount of the time, just with me and Ben being the most experienced players on there. Whereas we're kind of ushering in Anthony, and he did great last night for sure. And but even bringing somebody in that doesn't really know the battle royale formula, you can teach him to play the game really, really quickly.
Yeah, I mean that's part of what grabs people with battle royales, but at the same time, it's like I want a battle royale that has a little bit of a skill cap. I mean, I feel like that. Yet again, that's just kind of where Fortnite personally grabbed me. But yet again, not the best of shot. Like, I can shoot. Like, I've hit some very good shots, but at the same time, it's like I can't continuously do it. But I can continuously do 90s in like a second flat. So, you know.
I think that the one battle royale that really got me was Apex. As soon as it came out, I had so much fun with that game. Excuse me. And just the style, aesthetic, guns, like the speed of the game, where you could just slide around at such a high rate of speed. You slide all the way down hills, and you can really aim your gun really specifically well. when you're doing that. It all felt good. It all clicked. That's still probably the pinnacle for battle royale in my opinion, just because I love that first person shooter aspect.
Yeah.
Whereas third person I feel doesn't really fit the groove that I like as much. I was ready to fall in love with Firestorm Battlefield, but it just never came around, and the looting system was always a mess. That sometimes the damage system seemed a little unbalanced. Some of the guns seemed unbalanced. So it didn't seem like they really put a lot of work that it truly needed in there. And obviously the paywall was a big deal for the player base for that game, and obviously no crossplay and all this.
Right.
So I think that all of these things that I just mentioned that are detriments to that game are boons to Call of Duty, where they have the crossplay player base, and they they have the people willing to do the work to balance everything and get everything working really, really smoothly. But anyway, moving on to the big topics of the week, because we do have quite a long list here, and I think that was enough talk about Warzone again for this week. First big topic of the week is going to be the Nintendo Direct mini breakdown, which they say it's mini, but we have so many fucking titles here, so I'm just going to run quick through these, and we'll stop on ones that interest us the most. But
ooh boy.
So the first one here is the next Smash character will be an ARMS character. Do you remember the game ARMS?
Nope.
Alright, so it's this weird, springy fighting game where all the characters have some sort of extendable arm attachment. That's kind of the gimmick of the game.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot, except the video game.
Yeah, a little bit like that. I think that's kind of the idea that they had anyway. But
alright.
So new Smash character is going to be one of the ARMS characters there. Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered. So the Xenoblade game that came out on the Wii U, I believe, or no. 3DS. It came out on
sounds familiar.
Yeah, Xenoblade 2 came out for the Switch. Switch and Wii U, maybe? I think just the Switch a few years ago. Anyway, but it's not anything really of consequence. It's a mediocre JRPG in my opinion.
Fair enough.
But this is the one that I think everybody got in love with, or at least the fans of the franchise fell in love with, and they wanted it to be pushed forward. So here we go. It's on the Switch sometime this year.
Ta-da, Switch.
BioShock Collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, and XCOM 2 were all announced to be coming on May 29th. They also said at the beginning of the Direct that all these release dates are subject to change just because of coronavirus. It's fucking everything up.
Yo.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool. BioShock Collection's a really cool thing to have on the Switch. Borderlands Legendary Collection, awesome. XCOM, can't go wrong there. Bravely Default 2 demo was released on the time of the stream, which was a few days ago. I think it was Thursday. Yeah, so that's cool. You know anything about Bravely Default?
I don't. What's Bravely Default?
Bravely Default is like a Final Fantasy spin-off. So it's much like Final Fantasy, where it's like turn-based.
Okay.
It has many of the same aesthetics and spells and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it has this different combat system where you can either brave, which means you can take extra turns in a step, or you can default, which means you gain extra points so that then you can brave in other turns. So it's
interesting.
It's a pretty simple concept to grasp, but apparently it's hard to master, and it's a pretty good JRPG. I played the first one anyway on 3DS, and it was pretty good.
That sounds pretty cool. A decent mechanic to kind of like throw people awry.
Yeah. Definitely deeper than I actually dove into it. A lot of people really loved it, and it's clear to see Nintendo's willing to double down on it. Square Enix is willing to double down on it, so here we go. New Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC trailer details some of what to expect from the expansion, including a new legendary Pokemon, a cool dojo tower to fight your way through, and a new Gigantamax form for your starter. And this is coming at the end of June, so that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
The starters notoriously didn't get Gigantamax forms in the actual main game of it. Everybody was all butthurt about it. And now it's clear to see that they had a plan in mind, that they were going to add these as DLC from the start.
Yo.
They're
From
interesting designs. The water lizard has this sniper tower that he snipes from, that he just transforms his tail, turns into this whole tower, and he sits at the top of it, and he uses a water sniper. It's pretty cool. The rabbit reboot, which is the starter I chose.
Yeah.
He just rides this giant fireball that's in the shape of a rabbit's head, and it's also equally as cool. And the gorilla gets this crazy like Neil Peart drum set. It's amazing. So can't wait for that at the end of June.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I can't believe that, that's what Pokemon has turned into to some extent.
Yeah.
I remember when it was just like, I caught a Pidgeotto. Now it's like,
it evolved into a Pidgeot.
Now it's like, Mom, my Pokemon's a tower, sniping my enemies. Like,
Fortnite destroyed the world. But yeah, so that'll be cool to have in June. The second part of the expansion is still set to come out in fall of this year, so we'll see if any of the COVID-19 bullshit fucks that up.
True.
Animal Crossing's first seasonal event, Bunny Day, will take place between April 1st and the 12th. It's pretty much Easter in Animal Crossing. The event gives you all kinds of egg-related stuff to collect, and the actual rabbit comes around and he sends you on a scavenger hunt around your island, which is
that's kind of fun.
Interesting at best. I don't know how I'll actually how deep I'll actually get into it. I'll probably just be building my town through all of that.
You should see if you can trap him.
Oh man, that'd be great.
Like you could just put him, wait till he spawns, and then put him inside of something, and see if the game's code actually requires him to walk off screen for you. Because if it requires him to walk off the screen, you now have the bunny permanently. If it doesn't, and it just, vanishes.
Stand by for updates on this Bunny Catch 2020.
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But,
so this is where it kind of gets, like, not very mainline Nintendo. It was just, like, a bunch of indie bullshit. But here we go. Star Wars Jedi Knight and... Okay, let me start again. Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer are both coming to Switch. Jedi Academy is available now, and Racer will be available later this year. So the Pod Racer game, for, I believe, the N64 is getting up-resed to...
That's kind of cool.
I really like that game. I don't know how much or how good it was, and how much it was just like rose-colored glasses for me, like loving Star Wars back then. But
how well did it age? We'll find out.
We will find out. Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, a game compilation including a ton of classic games, including the likes of checkers, backgammon, billiards, and a ton more, is coming to Switch June 5th. So there's 51 titles. There's a ton of... I think there's darts, there's air hockey, there's a ton of things.
Frogger.
Maybe. I think it's more along the lines of just like traditional games.
Damn.
Like
Frogger is a traditional game.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I think Frogger's probably on the Switch.
Yeah, Frogger's.
If I was willing,
definitely.
If I was gonna bet, I would say definitely on the Switch.
Yeah.
Burnout Paradise Remastered makes its way to Switch, which is
actually a pretty dope game.
Yeah, and I think the Switch will run it just fine because
it
was a PS3, Xbox 360 game that was up-res. So
yeah, that's true.
Catherine Full Body arriving on the Switch July 7th. Catherine, if you don't know, was a puzzle game by Atlas that involved a bachelor that I think cheats on his girlfriend and starts having horrible nightmares, and the nightmares are puzzles that you have to complete in a certain amount of time. You have to like escape your nightmares before you're consumed by them or something like that.
Wow, so it's like, hey, you're a piece of shit.
Literally. Yeah, literally.
Here's a puzzle.
Panzer Dragoon Remake is available now on the Switch. The rest are... Okay, so this is exactly... I just wrote this myself. The rest are a bunch of updates on similar indie games, including some DLC for Marvel's Ultimate Alliance and some new Ring Fit Adventure settings. I clearly wasn't very excited about that last night. So we'll move on to the rest of the list here, and this is where it gets real.
Oh, shit.
So GameStop is moving to close 300 or more stores by fiscal year end, which I would say is in a few months. I'm not quite sure on fiscal year myself, but I think fiscal year ends in a few months, and this, of course, comes on the heels of their similar number of stores closing last year. I think they closed a little over 300 stores last year as well.
Yeah, they're just kind of like...
They got to be hemorrhaging right now, especially with the way they reacted to COVID. They didn't let their employees leave and go home, and it's not a good look, GameStop. Not a good look, especially when you're on the heels.
Definitely. I mean... Good news, they just sold out, like, all of their fucking games. Bad news, they're not going to be back in stock. Ever.
Yeah. Ever.
I mean, it kind of sucks because, like, in Maine, we have Bull Moose, which is very much like, if GameStop did it right, they would look like Bull Moose.
Right.
Which is, we have several of them, and they're all, like, none of them are said to close, and they're all, like, very... and like good.
They're taking the virus really seriously. They started doing curbside pickups for orders and stuff like that. They're not letting people inside. So I think in these trying times, it's really how you react to certain situations as a company overall that can make or break you. And as hard as it is to say about GameStop, because when you think back on GameStop, initially I loved that place. I loved going in there. It seemed like a really good atmosphere when I was younger, and like I love video games, so this must be the holy grail of video game stores. And really it was only the only one that we had, other than, like you said, Bull Moose.
Yeah.
But
Circuit City.
Now that Circuit City.
When we were young.
Oh yeah. Toys R Us, man.
Ooh.
That was N64 days.
The legends.
Yeah. But and I think that more and more they're just starting to show their true colors as like an evil corporation,
Yeah.
And it's really bogus. It turns something that could have been really great into something poisonous and unfun.
It's kind of funny. It sucks that that's how it went down, but I've always, like, because I've played computer games since I was like 8 or 9. So I've never had this connection that a lot of people have had to, like, GameStop. I always just saw it as like, wow, their games are really expensive, and then I just bought the game somewhere else.
Yeah, and
like
that is totally true. They've always been one of the most expensive places to actually get games, like where Bull Moose will actually discount their games right off the shelf. $5. It's $55 to go in there and get a new game. And granted, with tax, it kind of raises right back up to $60. But you feel that appreciation for your dollar amount, where they're trying to take as much off of that as they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to see. Anyway, but not cool to see that GameStop's losing 300 stores, because I'd hate to see anybody lose jobs and all that, because
definitely that part sucks a lot.
Those people don't deserve what GameStop is giving them.
It sucks. I mean, I imagine that those stores that they're closing probably had like 1 or 2 employees anyways.
Yeah.
Hopefully there isn't like a ton of people that kind of get outed. I mean, people losing their job in general sucks, but at the same time, like, at least you have experience.
Right.
You know,
you
retail experiences. Yeah, it's pretty applicable everywhere.
And after all this coronavirus stuff, I'm certain that places are going to be trying to hire on as many people as possible. So
yeah, for
hopefully
sure.
those people can find life elsewhere. But anyway, moving on, PSN is slowing download speeds in UK and US to combat traffic due to the COVID-19 virus. There are a lot of people on PSN right now. I've noticed that more than anything. Getting into, like I said, Warzone games, it's not hard to find a full lobby of that game. But you kind of notice it's like, oof, there's some hitching. There's some servers that are just like, wow, this is really bad right now. But then you get in another server and it's smooth as butter.
Yo.
So the traffic is really high. I don't know how much of this download speed is actually going to affect online gaming. I doubt that it will. I think that it's mostly going to affect you getting digital games, downloading those as quickly as possible from the servers. So interesting to say none the least. Wow. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
100%. Matter of fact, I doubled down on that.
Nonetheless, interesting because it's a. Let me see. It's an interesting reaction, I think. One that I didn't really think was going to happen. And you don't instantly think like, oh man, the internet's probably going to bog down because all these people are home. You don't think that until it starts happening. You're like, oh no. What if this just all collapses and there's no online games, there's no Netflix, there's no none of this. Like, that's going to cause fucking riots.
I mean, I definitely would say that, like, as is right now, I don't notice any difference at all on computer. And I would say that, like, I think a lot of what PSN is doing is because so many people have the PlayStation. And, like, if you notice, Xbox didn't say that they were doing it. I think what you'll find is companies do this to start with anyways, and they don't announce it. It happens
of course,
all the time. I mean, like, right down to our electricity is consistently turned on and off. It's just at such high speeds that it doesn't affect us.
Or it's not noticeable to the human eye unless somebody actually says it. It's like, hey, your download speed's not what it used to be. And then you go look, you're like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
But it could have been happening for years and you only notice it now because you're just being told. It's like anything else.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's definitely a lot of things that have been happening that nobody has talked about. So I find it really interesting that they mentioned that that's happening. It's definitely an interesting move just because it's, yet again, so many companies do this already. It's almost kind of like they're outing other companies, which I think is kind of funny in some ways. But yet again, on computer, I haven't noticed any difference. Actually, my internet has gotten a little faster over the past, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any internet bogs at all. I think it's just strictly PSN downloads, and I haven't even downloaded anything, so I haven't noticed it myself. It's just in the news, and people are not necessarily complaining, but they're saying they're noticing it. But I mean, yeah, just a little story, to keep your eyes on. Make sure those bastards over at Sony aren't stealing your download speed.
I wonder how Steam's doing. I haven't downloaded anything on Steam in a while, and like I know if I downloaded something right now, it should be at 14.6 to 14.8 megabytes on download. So, like, I know exactly where it should be. So now I'm curious to go download something on Steam and just see if it's a little lower.
We'll have to remember that to update next time.
Yeah.
But next thing on the list is a game that I was pretty excited about before, and I've watched some gameplay, and I think my excitement was a little stammered as Predator Hunting Grounds beta is now open. I watched the Funhouse guys played some Predator Hunting Grounds all together, and I don't want to say that it looks terrible because it doesn't necessarily look terrible, but it looks
looked pretty PS2.
It looks unfinished, and it's a beta, so granted, but it's supposed to be coming out next month, I think.
Yeah.
This coming month, April 27th, I think.
It's within 2 months.
Definitely. It's too close to blame it on, oh, we have another month to do some smoothing and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some of the UI touches don't look great. I didn't see anybody playing as the Predator, so I wouldn't know how that looks.
Yeah.
I only saw them play as the soldiers, which might not actually be the best part of that game. It's definitely going to be playing as the Predator.
We would assume playing as the Predator is the best part anyway.
But even the objectives, the things that you're doing seem kind of tedious, maybe not as enticing as, say, like the Friday the 13th game that this developer came up with before was really, the objectives of the game were to just practically survive. And I feel like that would have been more in line with this game too, like if you're just trying to survive or just trying to escape the Predator. But in this, you're kind of doing different mission objectives where you're looking for relics and then you're trying to capture a certain spot, or I think they tried to do a little too much with it, and it might end up bringing it down in a whole. But what did you have you seen any footage?
I've seen like very, very little. What I did see, it seemed like, you remember when Battlefield 4 came out and they literally took all of the texture off of the game, and they just said like, hey, we're still working on the detail and the texture, like it'll happen, this isn't how the final game will look. It kind of reminded me of that, except they didn't say this isn't how the final game will look.
Right. And with Battlefield, they in the test servers that they have for like new maps and stuff, sometimes they'll release maps that literally have no textures at all.
Right.
They're just to test out like the actual environments, where cover is, where cover works, and all that.
Right.
This is not that. This is that presenting a finished product seemingly, but it doesn't seem like it's finished.
Yeah, usually, especially in games like this, the reason why you do open betas is for like server stability issues, and to like test to make sure that mechanics function the way that they're supposed to when you stress the game in ways that like the developers don't usually think of.
Absolutely.
So generally speaking, at this point, you want to have all those things kind of like really stretched out.
Right.
So
and even if you're asking for the beta to like really stretch the game and really test it all, you're not necessarily wanting your game to look like garbage when all that's happening.
Usually you don't want it to look like garbage. Actually, you want it to be the exact opposite. Yeah. Usually that first little like level
you want
was
that
way
to be
better.
The best.
Yeah, like that's the best.
Like Shanghai in Battlefield 4.
Yo,
that was
exactly
such a sick map. But that is that. But the last thing we have on the list here is one I just added because the news of it came out late last night, but I saw it this morning. People have broken the street date for Final Fantasy VII, causing Square to release the game early in Australia and Europe, which are two of the territories that are pretty affected by the coronavirus. Europe being the most affected, I think.
Yeah.
Other than, I guess the United States has more cases than
we're number one.
Italy now, so
we are number one.
Maybe we'll get Final Fantasy early then.
Hey,
maybe there's some good out of this, but I think that's an interesting call. The reason they said that they're doing this is because they don't know, they can't control when games are going to get into the hands of the people because of the distributors and like people like Amazon, Best Buy, and all that.
Right.
They're not going to be able to judge when they're going to get copies to people, so they released the game early to those people so that then they could get distributed, hopefully in time for launch day, but maybe not even because they have no idea. So don't know what this could mean for the US. Maybe we get a launch like a couple days ahead so that things can get in order just like this. I doubt it's probably going to be today or tomorrow, because I think that the infrastructure of this stuff probably works a little bit better just here in America.
Yeah, I mean, with how I mean, at least with Amazon, I know America has a crazy amount of like facilities and stuff like that. And I have a friend who works for Amazon, and the amount of people that they're like constantly hiring on to try and like increase like their shipping right now is insane because everybody's buying stuff online.
Right.
Hopefully, this ties back to like them PSN slowing internet down. Hopefully they give people a couple of days before like the game actually releases to download the game, because if you remember, it's like 100 gigabytes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
and probably more now because they're just packing all kinds of shit in there, DLC, whatever.
It's gonna be a big ass file.
Oh yeah.
So
it's gonna be a sad day when I actually get it. I'm not gonna be able to play it until the next day. But
it releases Tuesday. You mean Wednesday? Yeah.
Yeah. So here in America, they extended the quarantine for another 30 days.
Yeah.
In the entire country, so people are supposed to be self-quarantining. All this. I think that's going to be affecting the, Amazon, all those people to an extended rate as before. So I don't know what this could mean for this game or Resident Evil or any of the games that are coming out in the next few months, like even as far out as Last of Us. It could affect things coming out in May. Like, I'm scared, man. I don't know. These physical copies, are they worth it?
I think that I think we'll be fine. I haven't used a physical copy for a computer game since I was like 13. So
yeah, I feel like that's just dead for computer games. I only ever see.
Dude, I didn't even have an optical drive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you don't even have an optical drive.
I have nothing.
You have to use a fucking dongle for USB ports.
I mean, it works. It works. Works terribly. And you have to keep it at just so it doesn't come out. But anyway, that's just a show for today. Make sure you check us out on all your podcast services, Apple Music, Spotify. Make sure you look at us there.
Google Play, or Google Listen, or Google Podcasts.
Something. You should know, damn it. So yeah, look for us there. YouTube. Comment down below if you have anything to say about us. Anything good, anything bad. Like us, subscribe, of course, because we could use the support. And we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.